I loved working on the whole first season because we were so innocent and naive, and we were so excited to come to work every day and we just had no concept. And then, we filmed at least 40 episodes before the show even started airing. So we didn't really know what was going to happen. We were just having fun as actors. And so then once it started airing and it blew up, became a whole nother thing. But yeah, to know that the show was in Japan before it even came to America is pretty crazy.
It is now my esteemed pleasure to bring to the stage from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Walter Emmanuel Jones and David Yost. Hello, I'm glad you guys are here.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm also happy to be here.
So
we're happy to be here.
You and I have had a chance to hang out together before on stage, but this is my first opportunity to meet you, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation. You just cleaning him up, make sure we're good? Solid. I want to talk a little bit about the legacy of this show. And one of the things I remember we had talked about was it was both incredibly culturally diverse and also in a way that we wouldn't necessarily do today. The Black Ranger was black. And so tell me a little bit about what you think about the legacy of the show.
Well, obviously it's, extremely humbling, and it's a huge honor. I can honestly say for myself, 32 years for us now. 32 years ago, I had no idea what I was getting into or what it would become. I was just excited to move to LA and pursue being an actor, and I got this job and didn't really understand it. And, it's just crazy how it just took off. And all around the world, we have all these amazing fans that we get to meet. So thank you all for being here. And it's just, again, so humbling to know that the characters that we played had such a strong influence on so many people's lives and really shaped them in some way. It's such a huge honor. So to Haim Saban, you were wrong. He always said it's not about you guys, it's not about the characters, it's just the colors. They only like the colors. So the fact that we're here and we have this legacy and we have so many amazing people after all these years that come and see us, it's a huge honor. And, we get so much love that I don't even know how to explain. Like, it just always makes us feel happy.
Yeah, it's everything that Dave said is absolutely correct. We owe a lot to you guys because you guys are the fans. We got the greatest fans in the world, I'm telling you. You guys, the only reason we're here is because of you guys. You guys are amazing. And I think we just want to say thank you to you. Thank you for supporting the show for so long. It's not very common to have a show that continues to satisfy people over 30 years. It's like, that is not a common thing. And then the fact that it's so multi-generational is amazing to me. I had a little boy come up to me. He was 11 years old. I didn't know how old he was. He's just a little boy. He came up, he's like, Mr. Jones, just want to tell you, thank you so much. You've been an inspiration. You were a big part of my childhood. And I said, wait, how old are you? He said, 11. I was like, okay. And I was thinking, your childhood, but you're still a child. But I said, well, when did you start watching the show? He said, when I was 5. And I thought, wow, that was your childhood. So that's amazing. It's amazing to have be involved with something where parents and dads and moms can come home and find their kids watching something that they grew up with and see them and be like, yo, all right, scoot over. Okay, hey, I love that. I think it's an amazing thing, and I'm just really grateful to be part of that and to be able to share with my friend that there's only 4 of us now that know what our journey has been, like from the very beginning, from the show being nothing but a script called Phantoms, right? It was called Phantom, so we didn't know what it was. And then and all of a sudden we did the show, and then it became a hit in 40 countries around the world. And here we are 32 years later from the pilot. And I mean, I'm only 29, so I'm not sure how that happened, but
It's true.
It is some fountain of youth that happened on that show, because you all don't look like you were in a show that was 30 years ago. So to your credit, you're looking fantastic. You please do queue up on the microphones. I have to ask you about then, you already kind of touched on this. The first couple years of the show were maybe tumultuous, challenging. There was a lot of movement, people being, like yourself, being moved on and off, and then this giant arc, and you've come back around, and now there's the Netflix special. When you look back at those first couple years, when you were finding your voice as young actors, tell me a little bit about that time.
Well, we weren't that able to have a voice at the time. And, I mean, I guess we did. Once the show became famous, then we had new directors coming in that wanted to, put their mark on the show. And us being the actors that had been on the show that made the show famous, we were able to go, my character wouldn't do that. Yeah, and make some adjustments, which was cool. But I think what it was is the hard work that we put into it, we saw, come in, Zordan. The hard work we put into it, it paid off, and we were just really grateful to be in that moment, and all the work that we did. I don't regret any of it. It's funny because when we worked on the set, we would do a lot of the fights outside, so I was very tanned, and people keep walking up to me going, You look lighter than you did. I'm like, I don't work in the sun every day anymore. I'm like, hey, it was wild.
Let's go ahead and get to some questions. We'll start over here. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Ben. My question is for Walter. What was it like working with Steve Cardenas and Catherine Sutherland on Once and Always, considering that I believe you said in an interview this was your first time ever working on set together? Did you ever interact together behind the scenes during the actual early filming back in the day?
Yes, it's been 30 years, and I've known them for quite a long time. So they all joined the show. We used to live in a big house. We had lots of parties. Most of the cast always came to the party. So I've known Catherine, I've known Steve and Karen and Johnny and Bosch for a long time. Like shortly after they were on the show, they came to a party at the house. I got to know them. And we've always been cool, and we've interacted a lot over the years. So being with them on the set was like being with my friends. It was interesting that I didn't know their characters though. So Rocky is kind of a goofy, funny guy, and I didn't necessarily understand that we were on the set, and there were sometimes where he would do things, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" But then I was like, "Oh, that's your character. I get it. All right, I got it." But it was cool to work with them. It was cool to work with everybody.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite moments on the set?
I was just going to say, even with Catherine, even though I had worked with Catherine, and you guys are going to yell at me now too because I'm going to screw this up, but I didn't realize she never had the pterodactyl power, something to that effect. And so there was this whole debate over her using the coin and how are we writing that. It just, whatever was going on didn't make sense to me. I just thought, I thought you always had this, but I think there was she skipped that somehow. So it was interesting. She was, but she wasn't. Don't get me started. You guys have to know. But I think she just came in and we were in our ninja outfits for the most part. And so she was more taking on the ninja power than the pterodactyl. So it was interesting.
Great question. Thank you. Hi, we'll come over here. How are you? What's your name?
Hi, my name is Troy.
Hi, Roy.
Thanks for being here. So my question is a little odd, but it is a serious question. I want to know, have either of you ever been in a situation where someone recognized you from Power Rangers, but they were kind of a jerk and maybe tried to pick a fight with you? Kind of like maybe you're at a party, maybe guys had a few drinks, you kind of want to see, how tough a Power Ranger really is. You ever had a situation like that?
Not really. I mean, usually I go out a lot. I'm a night owl, so I'm out. I'm in these streets. What's up? What's up? And but what happens generally when I go out to a club or I go out for dinner or I go out somewhere, I'll meet people and they're like, "Man, I grew up with you. I love you, man. You're like my inspiration." And then the word will spread a little bit, and before you know, there's like 5 or 6, 7 people that are there that are like, "That's my dog." So if anybody was going to try to cause a problem, they're the first ones to be like, "Oh, you ain't messing with him." So usually I don't have to do anything except for just be me, and that's very rare that would happen. Yeah, it's always love.
I would say it is definitely always love. The only time something similar to what you're describing has happened to me was actually at a Comic-Con where they serve alcohol. So there's certain Comic-Cons where they serve alcohol. A drunk gentleman, I'll call him, came up to me and was getting kind of aggressive kind of thing. And thankfully he got taken down. Not by me.
So you hit him in the nose.
Say it again?
You hit him in the nose.
So I hit him in the... No, we don't promote violence, guys.
No,
we
we don't.
Only against monsters and space aliens.
Right, but if you walk up to me and go, "Blue, blue," you might have a problem. Okay? I'm just letting you know.
But very interesting question. I don't think we've been asked that before.
Yeah, that's why I picked. I want to ask you something that you haven't been asked before, so that's what I thought of.
Thank
Solid
you.
work, Roy. Nicely done.
All right, thank you very much.
Also, what's interesting is when they used to serve alcohol in the green room before you guys would come out here. Not with you, but we've had some fun times. Now this is Jeff. Jeff, how are you doing?
Great. Been a fan of Power Rangers since I was a little boy. I remember playing Power Rangers in school. The kids like to cast me as Goldar. Anyways, my question to both of you is, how was it like on the set of Power Rangers? What was your schedule like?
I mean, I would say season 1, for sure, we were often 12-hour days, sometimes more, every now and then less, but I would say 12 hours is a good mark. And often it was 6 days a week. So we would film 5 days a week. Once the show started getting cut together, we would, on Saturdays, have to go do our voiceovers. So when you see people in costume and we're going, "Hiya, hiya, hiya," and saying stupid lines like, "Affirmative, all systems go."
Zack here, ready to rock.
Yeah, all that stuff. So we'd have to do that on Saturdays. So it was pretty grueling at times, but I will say for me, like I never really felt tired, like because I was living my dream, and it was just like so much fun and so much. It was really exciting, so I didn't necessarily mind it. But there does come a point where you're just like, "Oh my God, can I just sleep?" Yeah.
Yeah, and we had sometimes, not very often, but sometimes we had like 15-hour days, where it was like you got there at 5 a.m. We got up at 5 a.m. to get there at 6 or 6:30, and then you worked all day, and now it was like 8 o'clock, and they're like, "We just want to shoot one more thing," and you're like, "What?" And then you had a call back where you had to come back the next day at 6, so it was like, this is a lot, but we were young-ish, and we had a lot of energy, so there was no stopping us. We just kept going, and like we didn't quit, so it's fun.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
You said affirmative, so I have to ask you, are you still in the clothing entrepreneurship business?
No, I don't. I've kind of gone away from that.
Okay.
So, but I appreciate the little plug there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely brand. By the way, this is my brand. It's called
I was just teeing it up for him.
Hip Hop Keto. A little something in there. Anyway, it's not completely available yet, but if you're looking for it, you can find it on Fanword's site for Walter Jones exclusive merch.
Hi, question over here. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Vivek. I'm a little nervous and giddy at the same time to see my idols growing up, seeing you after school and Saturday mornings. A little bit unrelated to Mighty Morphin. I love you guys. But will we get to see you both in the next season of Cosmic Fury? David, you were in it, but maybe Walter, will you get to be in it too?
I don't know. At the moment, we don't know what's going to happen with the show because they're taking a year hiatus, I guess. The studio was shut down in New Zealand. Actually, David might know better. Tell us, David.
I mean, there's definitely not going to be another season of Cosmic Fury. So
Damn it!
That should, they did Dino Fury. Cosmic Fury was Dino Fury's 3rd season. So that chapter has sailed. So I don't think there will be another season of Cosmic Fury. Whatever rumors you read on the internet and all that, that's gone. So they're rebranding Power Rangers. We don't know what that means. They certainly are taking 2024 off, and most likely, from what my understanding, we won't see anything Power Rangers related till the very end of 2025. My understanding.
What's it going to be, David?
That I don't know, Walter. Again, we are not in the loop. I hope that in some way they include us, but I think their idea is to rebrand. So that might be like we're starting over, and this doesn't exist. I don't know, though.
I don't know. I have a feeling that they're experimenting with something old, something new. You know, I mean, like, so who knows? Jonathan Edwinson is now in charge of what Power Rangers will become. He's done some very interesting things, and I hear there might be an animation show, which would be cool, and I also hear there might be another movie, but I don't know.
Thank you. I love you guys.
We
Thank you
love
for
you
your time.
too.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Vivek. Hi, question over here. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Tim from Alexandria.
Hi, Tim.
And this is my fourth time meeting Walter, my third time meeting David at AwesomeCon.
Nice.
And David actually sent me a really amazing cameo last year for my birthday. Like, I want to say how much you're like your character. You're so down to earth and thoughtful and humble. And I also want to say, when I saw Once and Always, I think Walter has an amazing singing voice from the Down the Road tribute to JDF. And this really helps the healing process. And my question is, when did you realize the show was big? Like, when did you realize you guys were as big as, like, the Beatles, per se?
You want to tell the story for you?
Well, okay, so there were a couple of different moments that said to me, oh my God, the show is huge. One has to do with the effect that we had on people. We went to a children's hospital with Make-A-Wish Foundation. There was a little boy in the room. He was isolated because he had burns over 80% of his body, woke up in pain every day. It was a horrible story. And they were like telling us that this kid had not smiled in months. Like, he was just dealing with this pain and this, whatever. And so we had all gone down to the hospital to meet these kids, and we're like walking through the hallways in our suit with our helmet off. And they told us about this little boy, and we went to his window, and we all like stuck our head in the window, and he was in his bed and looked up and put the biggest smile on his face. And at that moment, I realized, wow, we really are making an amazing difference. It's like the fact that this kid was in such pain, but we were able to make him smile, said to me, this is bigger than anything else I've ever done.
For sure. I mean, on that, I mean, Walter and I, and Austin and Amy Jo and Jason David Frank and Twee, we are all very, Yeah. We're all very honored in so many ways, and obviously we hear so many amazing stories from you guys about how Power Rangers had an influence on your life. But in terms of us also knowing that the show was such a success, we often talk about the day that we went to Universal Studios in Los Angeles, and we were just supposed to do like one teeny tiny little show at this small little amphitheater, and within hours we had sold out Universal Studios, and that's an unheard of experience for anybody where Universal Studios has to close their doors and doesn't let anybody else in because, we've sold out the park. So we ended up doing like 6 or 7 shows that day, and we shut down the freeways in 8 miles in each direction in Los Angeles, which again, unless there's a horrible car accident, the freeways don't shut down. But the fact that so many people were trying to come see the Power Rangers shut down, the freeways. It was just like a crazy experience. And that was an amazing moment for all of us because it's a theater of 6,000 to 7,000 people. Each show, doing that at least 6 times that day was just an amazing thing. And that night we made national news. And I think for all of us, like that's when we finally understood we were the #1 kids show because, like Walter said, the executives would say stuff to us like, you guys are the #1 kids show, you're the #1 kids show, but that doesn't really mean anything because it's just words until you have an experience like that. And obviously, going out in the world and just getting recognized at Target or at the grocery store. And now it's still a daily thing for us, you know?
Yeah, it was a weird thing to walk to my neighborhood market and look to the side and see my face on Disney Adventures and the TV Guide. I'm like, that's me. Okay. Wow. Can I get one of these? Or, that was an experience. I was like, wow. And being on Teen Beat and such, those things that I'd grown up looking at and now I was part of. So that was also a thing.
I visualize you putting it on the checkout and be like, huh? That's me. I just smile. Yep. Right. Thank you for your question. Hi, how are you?
Doing all right. Walter Jones,
Hey.
you might recognize me from 2 years ago. We did a photo op together with a good buddy of mine. And David Yost, this is the first time I meet you. So, Walter, because things have changed for me since. Remember me now?
What's up, man?
It's been a long time.
Welcome.
David Yost, I'm going to say this to you. This is truly an honor for me to meet you for the first time because I've waited over 30 years to meet you. Ever since my time down in Atlanta, Georgia, watching on Fox Kids, you were a focal point to me in my life. And it's because of you. Look at me now. I'm wearing the Blue Ranger suit because of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
And I'm also under the spectrum of autism. This is why Blue drew to me. So now you were my greatest inspiration.
Thank you for saying that. I love your glasses.
Those glasses are dope, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You look good in the suit.
Thank you.
You have experiences like this over and over again, and you have a great sense of humility for that type of love that is constantly coming your direction. And it's nice to see how enthusiastic that you guys are. Hi, question over here.
Hi, I'm Arrow, and I was wondering, now it's louder if I lean down, what was it like working on what basically could be considered a localization team for a Japanese show, where half of it was basically just being dubbed, and the other half of it was being reinterpreted?
It was like, oh, this is new. It was like, okay, so I remember doing the ADR for the suits. It was interesting because, they have these sentences written that we had to fit into this motion, like the Rangers are doing this. And I had a whole monologue. I was like, oh, how do I say all of this in this moment? But, we found a way to add the voices to the rhythm of the movement. And that was nothing I'd ever done. Acting, I've been doing. I worked on television. Well, I knew how to work on TV and film and find the camera and acting, the technique. I knew that, but the ADR aspect, it was different. It was different from anything I had done.
Does that sort of answer your question? Or you want to know what it was like being on, I agree with everything he's saying, but just like the fact that the show was a Japanese show and we converted it to American, it was a little weird. I hadn't watched any of the episodes from Japan prior to us getting involved in this, and I didn't even watch it till after the first season. And then I watched the Super Sentai footage and was like, oh my gosh, this is totally different than what we're doing. How did Haim Saban even come up with this concept to make it to take that dark, scary kind of stuff from the Super Sentai and make a kid's bubblegum show? You know what I mean? Like it's pretty crazy to think about, but so it was interesting. But for me, honestly, the whole first season, I loved working on the whole first season because we were so innocent and naive, and we were so excited to come to work every day and we just had no concept. And then, we filmed at least 40 episodes before the show even started airing. So we didn't really know what was going to happen. We were just having fun as actors. And so then once it started airing and it blew up, became a whole nother thing. But yeah, to know that the show was in Japan before it even came to America is pretty crazy. And I know you signed it too. I don't know if the gentleman is here in the audience, but he has like a Megazord from like 1991.
Yes.
So even prior to our Megazords coming out. So I thought that was really cool to see that today. So that was based on the Japanese show.
Thank you so much.
Does that
both of
answer
you.
your question?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I just want to make sure.
I wanted to know like how it was awkward, but also just was it novel and everything like that. You both hit that. Thank you so much.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Arrow. Out of curiosity for you, you mentioned being naive when you first started. What advice would you give yourself if you could go back in time, just whisper in your own ear as you were starting out, now that you've learned so much over the years, for both of you?
Yeah, just so you know, Walter might not have been naive. I can only speak for me. I was super naive. I would just say, just trust yourself, to myself. Like, you know, I did in the beginning, but then I started letting people put doubt into my mind. And I should have just always stuck to my guns. So trust yourself.
I have this voice that doesn't whisper, but it yells, buy real estate. Buy real estate, do it now. Do it now, get a loan.
Hi, question over here. What's your name?
Hi guys, how are you doing? Yost, please, I'd like you describe your feelings about Brazilian Fandom, because I got a picture of you in CCXP 19, right? So please describe for us your feelings about Brazilian Fandom. Thanks in advance.
Obrigado.
De nada.
É hora de mufar.
Hora de mufar.
É hora de mufar. That's how you say it's morphin time in Portuguese.
Yes.
I think. Is that how you say it? Yeah. I mean, Brazil is unlike any other place. I know Walter knows this too. Like, you go there, the fans, not that you guys aren't great. You're amazing. But the people in Brazil are just wild. And they're just like so giving and so loving, and it's a carnival all the time, you know? So I have enjoyed every time I've gone to Brazil, and the people are so amazing, and I'm so grateful for them. How do you say grateful in Portuguese?
Agradecido.
That, exactly.
Agradecido.
But I'm so glad I got to meet you when I was in Brazil.
I'm meeting you and you tomorrow for photos. I wear cosplay to get photos.
Awesome.
You.
Obrigado.
Oi, tudo bem?
Thank you.
Thank you. I covered the Olympics in Brazil, and the fans were so rowdy there that they actually banned some of their noisemakers because it was actually causing hearing loss for people. It was the wildest thing. Hi, question over here. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Danny, and this is the first time I'm meeting you two. First off, big fan, and also, it was great to not only see you two in the Netflix special, not just like kicking butts and kicking putties again, but it was nice to see after all these years since like the last time we saw you two, like in like the last time we saw you on screen was, what I'm saying is it's nice to see not just you two kicking butt, but also seeing bits and pieces of like narrative-wise, like where you two your characters have been after all these years. So my question is for both of you, like knowing your characters more than anyone, how did your characters make the transition from the last time we saw them on screen to where they are now? Like your character Billy from being married and living in Aquatar to being a CEO tech at Cranston Tech, and your character Zack going from the peace conference to Congressman Taylor.
You know what? I thought it was cool. I thought it was a good way, a smart way to transition from the peace conference to congressman to, like that. My character Zack was still part of wanting to help people in general, I personally like the transition that they did in Boom Comics with me becoming one of the Omega Rangers. I think that is actually really cool. I wish there would have been a way to make that happen within the series or some sort. It's just because I love that transition. I think that's cool to be, also still a Ranger, but helping other people and helping other Rangers in different dimensions. I thought that's a really cool idea.
Did Billy get married? I think that's just a fallacy that's out on the internet. I mean, Billy went to Aquatar, but everybody assumes he had some crazy relationship with an Equestrian. I don't know that in my mind, as the person who plays Billy, I don't think that ever happened. He went to Aquatar. Yeah, she was cute, but it wasn't quite there. So I feel like Billy went out and did a lot of stuff in space, I think we get hints of that too in Once and Always, that he's out there. I struggled a little bit with them creating Cranston Tech and Billy being a CEO because I just see him, I don't really see him locked to earth. So I don't know. But I mean, it worked and it works, and I'm not against it, but it wasn't 100% where I wanted Billy to be. But I understand the concept. So, and from fans, they seem to enjoy it. So I have to go with what you guys enjoy. Did you like it?
Yeah.
You liked Once and Always?
Yes.
Did everybody like Once and Always?
All right.
I know there's one person, at least one person in here today that said, well, it was okay. I was like, oh, okay. Usually people are like, oh, it was great. It brought back all the nostalgia, my childhood. But one guy was like, eh.
Like, thank you for your honesty.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, question over here. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Tim, not from Alexandria.
Hi, Tim.
But it's really surreal just to be here in front of you guys because just how influential Power Rangers has been in my life personally. And I'm sure if my mom was here, she'd be thanking you too because it was the one show that she could put on and I would stop fighting with my brother because we'd be too engrossed in the show. And so it's literally from everything from the reason why I started watching martial arts movies, the reason why I started watching anime, even my taste of music, because of the greatest theme song of all time, in my opinion. So my question is, when they were pitching the idea for the show to bring you on board, was there like was there something that was drawing you to the idea of it? Like, did you have any like influences? Like, was there some martial arts things that you were drawn to, or some big sci-fi things that you were really interested in? It's like, okay, I have to be a part of this.
First of all, we weren't big stars, so they weren't pitching anything to us. That's not how it went. There was a huge open casting call in Los Angeles. Thousands of people auditioned for the show. We got very lucky. The original cast, we had amazing chemistry together. We used to go to Bob's Big Boy, a restaurant, and we would sit and eat and rehearse and become really good friends.
Asking each other questions like, so how do we meet? What made me like you? You know, like these things and get to know each other and our characters so that when we were working as a cast, we had this camaraderie.
So we had like a great chemistry together. So, and honestly, again, like Walter said earlier, the show was originally called Phantoms. So that's like, what does that mean? Yeah. And then when we filmed the pilot, it was Dino Rangers. So it's like Dino Rangers. And if you have ever seen the unaired pilot, you know, like our faces morph into our dinosaurs. It was horrible.
That was kind of weird.
And then we became Power Rangers. So they were still figuring it out. That theme song never existed until it went to series. And I agree with you. It's probably one of the greatest television theme songs in the world. Congrats to Ron Wasserman. Deserves so many props for that song because it just like everybody knows that song, especially in your generation, and it just was like an amazing thing. So, you know, I appreciate that you thought that we were big. You know, hey, they came to you, they offered you this show. It had sci-fi. We had no idea what we were getting into. I can assure you that. Even when they would tell us, "You're going to be superheroes. You're in spandex." I don't think I even grasped what that meant. What does that mean?
I just remember thinking, I remember being excited about it and dreaming in my mind what it might look like. And it looked nothing like what I thought I was going to do.
That's a good question. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Sorry if we didn't answer it.
Question over here. Hi, what's your name?
Decky. In Once and Always, why did you and David and all the other Rangers survive except for the yellow one?
Oh, you have to answer.
Well, you guys are funny. All right, so the show came out 30 years ago, right? We did 30 years ago, and unfortunately, we lost one of our friends who was in the cast. Her name was Trini. She played the original Yellow Ranger. And what we wanted to do in Once and Always is pay homage to her. We wanted to give her flowers because at the time when we lost her, a lot of kids were really young, and dealing with that was probably going to be very difficult. So now a lot of our fans are older, are there, and they have kids of their own, like maybe your mom and dad. So what's good is now if you don't understand, your parents can help you with that, and they have a lot of compassion because they themselves were fans and understand how hard that is to deal with, you know. So we wanted to pay homage to her and Jason Frank. Yep.
Thank you for your question. Question over here. Hi.
Hello. Thank you for making the trip down to DC, although I just realized you're Congressman Taylor, so it's like you were meant to be here.
Here we go. Hey.
I watched it as a kid, and getting to be here with my 5-year-old daughter today, dressed in Power Rangers, and getting to meet you guys was everything to share that moment with her, and now watch the clips on YouTube. And we've actually read the Omega comic book series together. She liked it. She was scared of the big cat, but it was really, really good. She liked it. Some of the lessons that you see in the original MMPR are still so applicable today, but you can't help but watch it and be like, wow, it's so different. There weren't cell phones. There wasn't Instagram. There wasn't TikTok. Tommy wrote Kimberly a letter. What advice or perspective do you have for parents today watching with their kids, getting the questions that we get? Because parents are dealing with a lot of challenges now that weren't around when the original show was around.
I personally, being a parent as well, I think some of the lessons that were valuable that came from Power Rangers are still applicable today. Obviously, there's more things to deal with, like you mentioned, social media and so forth and so on, but the standards of how to treat people the way you want to be treated, not to bully, to help save the earth by not littering, like to stand up for yourselves and to believe in yourself and to be the best at what you can be, to be the best at the things that you love and to love other people. Those things stand common today. So I think just keep pushing those ideas, and your kids will, love it.
You want me to say something too? I mean,
No.
I mean, really.
There's time for it.
Also, I think like such a great message too was about us was teamwork, and that you saw that we all came from sort of an ethnically diverse background, and we were able to come together. I think that's so kind of crazy in the United States right now, how disjointed we seem. But the Power Rangers, we prove like we can all get along. And, so I always enjoyed that about our show. It seems sort of groundbreaking for the early 90s, and that we really focused on working together as a team. And I think that's really important for kids to understand. You can be friends with anybody, and you get to work with everybody.
So important. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful question. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Joey.
Hi, Joey.
I'm actually a biggest fan of Walter and David. I'm like a huge fan. I used to watch all you guys show from my Morphin, and you guys are really awesome. But my question is for you guys, what is your type of favorite monster that you guys fight in your own fight scene in my Morphin?
The favorite monster. I always find that it changes because I as I get older and I experience watching it again or meeting people who dress as some of the monsters, I like, oh yeah, I forgot about that monster. That guy was cool. I got to give it to the putties because they were always there, and they were always there and multiple. They were like, it was like going to be 12 of them. So they were funny. To be the scary guys and the villains, they were funny, and they weren't, I think it worked for kids, as far as kids. Like, I don't think kids were having nightmares about putties. Whereas Lord Zed, on the other hand, who was pretty intense and kind of scary, I loved him as an adult. I was like, this dude is gnarly. But because it was a kid's show, I kind of favor the putties.
I would say Eye Guy was always probably one of my more interesting, what I thought was one of the more interesting monsters that we fought. But we fought a lipstick, we fought a purse, we fought a brick wall, we fought a pig, some kind of like, what was it? We talked about it in Once and Always. It was like a chicken with a
headlight,
a signal.
A turtle with a headlight.
Turtle, that's what it was. Whatever it is. We fought a chicken with scissors. That's what it was. So it's all kinds of good monsters. So, and the great thing about our studio, if you ever came to see where we filmed Power Rangers, they had shipped all those monsters over from Japan. And when you walked into the lobby, if you looked up all the way around, there was just monsters. Like just all in the, see, there's like a shelf back on that back wall. There was just monsters all lined like that. So you'd walk in and go, oh my God.
And you can imagine that those suits have been worn by actors and stuntmen since Japan. So it's like, these are a lot of old suits and they've been worn well.
They smelled, is basically what he was saying, because people sweat inside of them, and there'd often be 2 or 3 different people that have had to wear those suits. So good on the stunt crew.
Absolutely.
God bless them and thank them.
Those guys are great.
We'll do 2 more questions. Thank you. We'll go here, and then you'll be the last one. Go ahead. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Ryan. This is my brother, Alex. We both grew up watching Power Rangers after school and Saturday morning, so we want to thank you for all you've done for the show. My question being, as you probably are aware, and you've hinted before, there are so many different versions of Power Rangers over the years, and you've done lots of different versions from like the first version to now I'm getting a mind blank. Once and always. But from your experiences, how did it feel like to participate in different versions of the Power Rangers, and like with the most recent modern version of Power Rangers? Well, how do you feel about the transition so far, and how do you feel about making appearances back in Power Rangers again, or the newer versions now?
So, like, you mean in Cosmic Fury that I was in?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's it's different for sure. It's not the same. I mean, there's nothing like MMPR. That's when you guys clap.
I'm clapping too. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I'm just teasing. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't know. I mean, because I probably was on the show the longest, MMPR, Alien Rangers, Zeo, all that. So, the transition for me was fine. It was like an evolutionary growth. But for me, when people always ask me about Power Rangers, I don't know why, but my brain just always gravitates to the original cast and the original season, just because I know what we went through and what we had to do to establish the franchise of Power Rangers. And so it has the most meaning for me. But, us getting to go back and do Once and Always obviously was such a great experience. I can't speak for you, but I'll speak for me. But to get to go back and work with Walter, knowing that we started this 32 years ago, is pretty crazy. And so for him and I to get on the set and take on our characters again,
Zack again.
Get to be Billy and Zack again, it was a lot of fun. And I know, it meant a lot to both of us. And then for me to get to go on and do Cosmic Fury obviously was a great way too for my character Billy to keep on, seeing where he's going and his legacy. So that's all I can say for me.
For me, going back to the show Power Rangers Once and Always after 28 years. Oh my God, 28 years is a long time, y'all. I'm just saying, that's crazy. But to go back and finally get closure, because when I left the show, I didn't expect to leave the show. I expected to leave and renegotiate and be back for the series and then do the movie and more series and just keep working. But the fact that I never got a wrap from the show, usually when you end a show, they go, okay, that's a wrap for Walter, and it ends that moment. So it took me 28 years to get that final, release, and it was amazing for me to go back and be part of a new series, it's like not the entire old cast, but with new people, but it's still being the same. Like David and I having our history and being in it in a way where we were really working the situation out and sharing the most of the responsibility. That was really cool. I loved it. I think it probably could have been one of the best things, to have that movie as, my comeback for me, because I'd much rather that than coming back and taking off my helmet and being saying one line, that wouldn't have been, I don't think that would have stood up to what I wanted it to be. So Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for your question. And you're our last question.
My name is John. I'm a 90s baby. I just turned 34 on Wednesday, and I remember watching you guys at like 7 or 8 years old. So my question is, for the filming of Power Rangers, did you guys have to have any martial arts training, or was it just all choreographed, and how hard or easy was it to get down?
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Happy birthday!
I mean, I certainly didn't have martial arts training. Amy Jo and I, we were competitive gymnasts most of our young life. So she and I think that's obviously one of the reasons why we were cast, is that we were able to flip around. And then before we started filming, they had us rehearse for like a month. And, they taught us what I call television martial arts. So, Jason David Frank, we got to meet Jason prior to filming. He was kind of cast, and we knew he was going to come in at some point. So he was there, and he helped. I know he helped me, and I know he helped Amy Jo quite a bit, just like trying to teach us stuff. So we didn't know martial arts. I can't speak for Walter. I'll tell you his background, but I was a gymnast. Amy Jo was a gymnast, so that's what we brought to the table.
Yeah, I had studied Ishinru as a kid. I hadn't studied since then, but martial arts kind of stuck with me, and it's almost like dancing in a sense. So I studied Ishinru, and when we got on the set, we had all these stunt guys that were amazing, that were like specialists in their various martial arts. And so working with them, I learned a lot more in regard to kicks and punches and throws, and I learned a lot more techniques from a lot of different martial arts styles. Creating hip-hop keto. Creating hip-hop keto was fun for me, though, because it was like it was something that wasn't created, They would put in the Zack, and they put in the script, Zack does hip-hop keto. And it was like, okay, so give me 5 guys and let's come up with something. And we come up with some cool things where I got to be creative, dancing, and do martial arts at the same time. And be inspired by these guys, because they were amazing gymnasts, because they're doing backflip, tuck, something, and I'm like, I want to do that. So I would go and work out at the gym after shooting and work on my flips so I could, be as impressive as these guys. So it was fun, though.
Excellent question, John. Happy birthday. I would like to remember this with a selfie, if I may. Gentlemen, this is awesome. Here we go. Guys, please give it up for David Yost and Walter Emmanuel Jones.
Thank you. And give it up to our sister, our
amazing signers.
She's done a great job. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for watching this video. I am Invader Zim, and I traffic in doom. And so, if you do not subscribe to this channel, you will have doom that befalls you by me, Invader Zim.